don't know. It's just again, it's not always the most stimulating, but he's always interesting to watch in terms of like interaction and and things that require more of a provocative response. But check
shouldn't even be opening up yourself up to all of these spirits from different men in the first place.
How do you meet your husband if you don't date?
You already probably met him. He's the person that has your best interests at heart. He's the person that already was your best friend. He's the person that had your best interest. Most women skip over the man that they were supposed to meet.
Hold on. Shorty right here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think for the most part, you gotta have these kind of personalities in order for there to be chemistry, in order for the energy to kind of keep going, because you kind of need a little bit of tension. Like she keep the tension going. But I want to run this back because I want you guys to listen to how she reacts, because she does this a lot. Whenever people are talking, she interjects a lot.
Person that already was your best friend. He's the person that had your best interest. Most women skip over the man that they were supposed to marry already. That's the key. And then y'all pick the guy that y'all want.
So what she was doing. Now, let me preface this by saying a few things first, because I want to make sure that we understand what we're doing right here. You understand? Well, for one, let me make sure that my audio right, okay? Because I hate to get into this kind of this level of cooking, right? Oh yeah, and then it's not giving what it needs to give. So what you just saw her do, and these are things that men have never really been able to like look at online and watch it play out, because what's interesting about these panels is watching human nature play out, right? And watching how people respond to things they don't like. Because what's interesting about these things is that you can see the emotion, the body language, that the communication going on with the women when the men are talking. All right, and it's interesting to kind of watch that white supremacist mindset thing I've been talking about in terms of the vitriol. That's the word people use on the internet, not in terms of like the need, the desire to disrespect this person whom you don't really know like that, or this being close, the closed-mindedness, as if there's nothing this person can contribute to me intellectually, right? Because for the most part, in these panel conversations, this is the first time a lot of people have ever done this. But anywho, when she's doing that, what she's doing is, again, a weaker man is going to stop and address her point, right? Because the thing about when someone's making a point, especially if it's something that requires a certain amount of time, when someone's stopping you, what they're doing is they're trying to get you away from logic. They want to keep chaos going. And again, women are naturally chaotic in terms of randomness and switching it up and multitasking and the desire for different experiences or desire for stimulation and being busy with something. That's really important to women. You know what I mean? Which is why women always kind of want to be doing things, or wants to be doing things that make them feel as though they're having a different experience. All right. But she has to have the discipline, all right, and the self-control and the emotional regulation to know, okay, I don't need to quit my job because I want to go experience being an entrepreneur or experience this new business, or I don't need to go to a different gym now because there's a lady there that I don't like seeing, you know what I mean? Or I don't like being there and whatnot, or I don't need to move away because because I had a bad breakup, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, like these big changes that people will make, or the most famous one is breaking up your family or leaving the best relationship that you were going to get. Okay, so anyways, I want to point that out. I'm gonna run this back real quick with brother Anton. Coogee Sweater Anton. Final.
He ruins you, and then you expect for another guy to come back and pick up the pieces for you. The man that they were supposed to marry already was your best friend. Up to all of these spirits from different men in the first place.
How do you meet your husband if you don't date?
You already probably met him. He's the person that has your best interests at heart. He's the person that already was your best friend. He's the person that had your best interest. Most women skip over the man that they.
You see how she cuts into him, right? You try to cut into the conversation, and he just goes straight through and keeps making his point and ignores it. And also, look at her eyes.
Was supposed to marry already. That's the key. and then y'all pick the guy that y'all want. He ruins you, and then you expect for another guy to come back and pick up the pieces for you. That's not the way to do it. We remixing what relationships are supposed to be. You ain't even supposed to be dating until you get married. So you met him
at a quick trip, but you never dated him, but you were supposed to marry him.
No, you was raised with him. You were around him. You went to school with him. Most people.
That's not true.
Because I'm so looking at my.
So let's go ahead and expand on that point. All right. Okay. So with my extensive experience in human services, right, and working with people in the field, and working with people on a long-term basis where I see them on a regular basis, I get to know them, I'm investing in them, I know their family, and I know what's going on in their life. So you learn how to have more of a long-term thinking approach to assisting people and having relationships and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because people oftentimes, when it comes to having a conversation, they kind of want to do all the work at one time. And when you have that mindset, what's going to happen a lot of times is that you're going to get impatient and you're going to kind of give up on the other person. So I want to point that out. You know what I'm saying? So I like to break things down to high vibrational behaviors and low vibrational behaviors, because certain mental conditions have similar symptoms, but any symptom that any kind of extreme behavior is a part of the human experience, right? Like anger. Some people get angrier than others. Some people have a better sense of humor than others. Some people are just more optimistic than others. Some people are faster or taller than others. All right. You've seen people who are giants. You've seen people who are very short, or some people who are regular tall. You know what I mean? So everything that goes on in humanity is a part of the human experience, right? So I always want to point out low vibrational behaviors and high vibrational behaviors. High vibrational behaviors is when you're doing something that benefits yourself and the people around you and does not hurt anyone. Whereas a low vibrational behavior can be seen as desirable because it's stimulating, right? Or it can be rooted in selfishness, right? But ultimately, in the long term, it hurts you spiritually because you're making a bad cause, and usually it comes at someone else's expense, and usually there it stagnates growth, right? So in this conversation, it's really a masterclass, and what's really going on is you really, what you're seeing play out is, and I'm not calling people on their niggas, but the nigga mindset. And how we don't realize that we've been too creative with all this shit. We've been freestyling and remixing and repurposing. It's like, relationships are not like art. Everything is not art. Black people think that everything, but get me wrong, you can be creative about everything. But if we don't do it with the future in mind or everything, look how things go. And also what you're also hearing is the limitation of female leadership in all four people. And I'm not saying that Rico and Old Boy is not masculine, nothing like that, but the abstractness, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a point. There's a point in this other video where Rico makes this really abstract. It's like, it's not a bad point, but he's talking about his relationship with his stepfather and also how he saw his father. He made this point about basically like the meant to be mindset. And when you see things in terms of meant to be, that means that you'll find a way to say this is why this happened and whatnot, which is not the worst thing. It's a part of being creative and being optimistic and everything. But we have to recognize when, for one, we're speaking to our own personal experience and not considering what is the shared experience that has led to so many men resonating